What's going on, guys? I want to do a video about vaping. I think it's very important for me to give some general information about vaping, as well as get an important message across to everyone, obviously, who sees this video. And I hope you guys would spread this video and spread this information to anyone you know. Before I even get started, let me just say I am not an expert by any means in vaping. I know very little compared to what there is to be known. It's a very small hobby for me, and I don't indulge deeply into it, so I don't have all the information about it. But the information I want to give to you, I think is important that you should know. First of all, the message I want to get across the most is that I do not at all want to encourage smoking to children at all. It's very, very important to me that everyone knows that. It should be obvious, but I think it has to actually be said. If you're watching this and you're a teenager or a child, please, from the bottom of my heart, do not try doing something just because you see me doing it. Obviously, I do some videos on some pipe smoking and some cigar smoking. These videos are intended for adults to watch, but I understand you can't filter everything, and you know, kids are going to watch whatever they're going to watch. But if you care at all about what I think, please don't do it, because it's not worth it. As a child, you should enjoy your youth. As an adult, you will miss it. Okay? Promise me. I know what I'm talking about. All right? So just because it may seem fun or cool, or you know, you may want to use it for the same reasons I use it, don't. Just don't. As an adult, you'll be open to all kinds of fun stuff. But as a kid, there's a lot of fun stuff you don't want to miss out. So don't try growing up too fast. All right? Everyone makes that mistake. So that being said, understand that any vaping video I do is intended for a mature audience, not for kids or teenagers. So, vaping. Why do I vape? What is the point of it? I've been getting a lot of questions because some people don't know what it is. It's pretty mainstream. There's even stores dedicated to the vaping. There's places you can go in and just get all the accessories you want and actually hang out and vape with those people, just like there are smoke shops. But even though it's pretty, prevalent in society, there's still many, many people who don't know what it is or the purpose of it. Now, the original reason for the invention of vaping, or the original purpose of it, was to help smokers weed off of smoking and or at least smoke in a healthy way. What I mean by that is that vaping gives cigarette smokers a way to take in the nicotine that their body craves without taking any carcinogens in. Okay, when you smoke a cigarette, there's a lot of carcinogens, obviously something that can cause cancer. There is a list so long of crap that's in the tobacco for cigarette use. It's ridiculous and it's disgusting. And if you ever look this up on your own, Google what's in cigarettes, and you'll see a list of all these chemicals, and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe that that's what's actually in there. It's what they use to process the cigarette, to stabilize the tobacco. It's mass produced. Obviously, there's millions and millions of cigarettes made. The stuff that's in there is ridiculous, and if you are a cigarette smoker and you read that and you weren't aware of it, you'd probably be pretty disgusted enough to quit to begin with. But in addition to that list, there's probably 30 or more different carcinogens, 30 or more different ways those chemicals can give you cancer. And not everyone who smokes cigarettes gets cancer. Some people live 105 years old and they smoke the whole time and drink and they eat crap, and everybody's different. All right. And there's some people who start smoking and they die in a year. So you never know how your body's going to react to cigarette smoking. I've always been against cigarette smoking. My father smoked cigarettes, but he grew up doing it. It's just one of those things. Obviously, it was a different era. They didn't know how bad it was for you, and now it's very hard for him to quit. But he's trying to get into vaping because he wants to quit, just like many, many people all around the world. You have this bad habit. You're used to it. But the problem is if you go cold turkey or you stop smoking, you actually start feeling sick because you go through withdrawal. And it's a wall. And it's a wall that's big enough and thick enough that a lot of smokers can't go through it. They physically feel sick. They get sweats. They get fevers. They don't feel good. They feel nauseous. And that's because they're not getting what they're craving. They're craving that nicotine because they're addicted to it. It's like a lot of different drugs. Now, nicotine itself is not a carcinogen. Nicotine does not cause cancer at all. When you smoke cigarettes, the nicotine is the least of your problems. It's all the chemicals that are in that cigarette tobacco. The idea behind vaping is taking a base liquid, and we're going to talk about this in a second because I'm going to read the exact words from an article that explains PG, what that is, VG, because you'll see all the different mixes on there, and some people don't understand that. So I'm going to explain that in a second, the technical aspect of it. But basically, you have this base liquid, and there's nicotine, and there's flavorings added to it. Okay, the flavorings could be something fruity, or it could be something that just tastes like tobacco, okay? And then what happens is you put it in an apparatus which actually vaporizes it into a mist that mimics smoke. So when you see someone vaping, it's not smoke, it's actually a mist. All right, that mist is taken in like a normal cigarette and exhaled, and then while it's taken in, the nicotine in there will be absorbed by your blood, all right, and you will have that nicotine fix. Now, when I vape, I don't use any nicotine. I'm going to explain that. The benefits to vaping for trying to quit smoking is that, first off, you can get, e-liquid that has the same nicotine content as a normal cigarette. So if you stop smoking cigarettes and you start vaping, your body won't feel that change because you're still taking in that same nicotine and you're not going to crave it. Okay, you're going to feel satisfied and you're going to have the same feeling. In addition to that, you're not taking in any actual smoke. The smoke is what gives you lung cancer, okay? All the carcinogens that are in there. The smoke is what blackens your lung. The hot smoke is what burns all the cilia, the hair in your throat. That's why you cough all the time as a smoker, because when dust comes in, there's no hairs to collect that dust, okay? These are all the negative effects of cigarette smoking. When you vape, that goes away. And, there's thousands of people who have started vaping who have literally stopped smoking cigarettes. I know it works. There's a guy, Orette, who I used to work with at the post office. He used to smoke cigarettes very heavily, and when I started getting into vaping, I got him into it. All right, and he quit cold turkey just like that. No more cigarettes at all. All right, started vaping. He was very happy. He did it for his kids. He had 2 little kids, and he was coughing and wheezing, and he couldn't keep up with them, running around. And he was a young guy. He was a Marine. He was a Marine that came out of the service, got the postal job. Really nice guy. Him and his family, he loved his kids, loved his wife, and he wanted to be healthier, and he did it. He did it through vaping. That is proven. Okay, I've seen it firsthand in real life. People quit smoking by vaping. But something to note here, okay? First of all, what's really good about vaping is the concept about it is that you're not taking in smoke anymore, but you're still getting the nicotine, so you're not feeling any withdrawal. But over time, you can lessen the amount of nicotine in that liquid. You can dictate how much nicotine you're taking in. So you can, literally puff on something and get that feeling mentally that you're smoking all day long, but take in little by little. And then you gradually decrease the nicotine levels to eventually 0. So you're still puffing away and still feel like you're smoking mentally, and you're not feel like you're missing anything, but eventually you get to a point where you're not taking any nicotine in at all. All right. Your tissue and your lungs get a chance to rejuvenate. You actually get healthier. You can rebuild. Our bodies are amazing. And when we get cut, we get a little scab, then it turns into skin. We regenerate ourselves constantly. Our lungs are no different. You can have blackened lungs. It can look like a shriveled up prune in there from smoking for 40 years or whatever. But you can actually, if you stop smoking, it can regenerate. All right. It can rebuild tissue, healthy tissue, more air sacs and stuff so you can breathe better. People actually feel better and they're more healthy by vaping. Now that I'm talking to people who are ex-cigarette smokers who start vaping. That's one thing. That's really the main purpose why it was invented. That was the purpose of vaping. But because it's become such a popular thing, there's a lot of people who started vaping who aren't cigarette smokers. Now this is a whole different thing. I'm not going to preach because, again, this is for adults and adults can do whatever they want. But I do not recommend, if you do not already take nicotine into your body, to start doing that. I don't believe in that because it is, a dependent, I want to say drug, but it is a chemical that's proven to be dependent. Nicotine is addictive. Absolutely. So if you don't already smoke cigarettes or you don't, take nicotine in constantly on a regular basis, do not start doing that. All right? Because you're going to become addicted to nicotine. That's a fact, period. Now, that being said, as I mentioned before, you can get different levels of nicotine in e-liquid all the way down to 0, where it's just the base liquid. It's the flavoring and it's the physical liquid that it's in, which we're going to talk about a little bit what that is. That's what I do. That's what Christina does. Christina is not a cigarette smoker. She doesn't smoke pipes. She doesn't smoke cigars. All right, she's not a smoker. So when she vapes with 0 nicotine. Okay, there is 0 health risk with that. In addition to not having any health risk whatsoever, she doesn't even, as do I, we don't even inhale completely. We smoke it or vape it as if it was a cigar or a pipe. We take it into our mouth and we exhale. Okay, I shouldn't say exhale because that makes it sound like I'm inhaling. It's not bad to inhale. It doesn't do anything, but Personally, I smoke it like, because I don't smoke cigarettes, so I'm not used to inhaling fully anyway. So I smoke it like a cigar, or a pipe. I get the flavor. I get the ritual of the smoking ritual. This is very relaxing to me and calming. I get that all, but I get zero health risk whatsoever. Okay, zero nicotine, zero health risk. I'm taking in a flavored mist in my mouth and blowing it out. That's it. All right, so there's no health risk whatsoever. I do it for two reasons personally. I do it, one, because the sweet flavored liquids curb my appetite. If I feel like a snack or dessert and I'm trying to lose weight and I don't want to do that, it helps me to curb those cravings. It tastes sweet. It tricks me into thinking I just ate something sweet. All right, the one I like the most, I like the peppermint ones. It leaves that peppermint cooling feeling in my mouth, and it tricks me into thinking I just had something to eat. So I like it for that, and I also like it for the ritualistic reason of smoking. Okay, I can enjoy a pipe or a cigar, and although it's very natural tobacco and I'm not inhaling, I still have a risk of getting some kind of a cancer in the mouth, cancer of the lungs. Even though I'm not inhaling, it's floating around the lungs. So although I do that very seldomly, vaping is a great way just to enjoy that same feeling with no health risk whatsoever. So that's why I like it. But again, I don't recommend you picking up this hobby. Um, if you don't take in nicotine and you want to vape, then vape with zero nicotine. I know people who vape, who don't smoke normally, but they do vape with nicotine because they like the way it feels. Be warned. Be warned. You're going to get addicted to nicotine, okay? And when you don't have it, you're going to crave it. All right? That is my official warning right there for everyone. However, if you like this hobby or it seems interesting to you, you can certainly do that. Just vape with zero nicotine content whatsoever. Let's talk about nicotine a little bit. Nicotine is an alkaloid. It's just like caffeine. It's not bad for your body, but like anything, if you have too much of it, it can be very bad for your body. In fact, you can die very easily. Nicotine is one of, if not the strongest poison there is in the entire world. I don't know if you guys realize, but if you smoke 2 cigarettes and you absorbed all the nicotine that was in both of those cigarettes, you would die almost instantly. That is a fact. But when people smoke, even when they're inhaling, you're not absorbing all the nicotine content that's actually in that tobacco. And thank God, because we'd all be dead. But nicotine is extremely, extremely poisonous in high doses. Now, if you take in too much nicotine at once, you will start to feel the nicotine poisoning. Okay, you're going to get a lot of effects. You're going to get nauseous, dizzy. You're going to start sweating. You're going to feel faint. You're going to feel very hot and flustered. These are all signs that you have too much nicotine in your body. Nicotine will cause your blood pressure to go up. Nicotine will cause your heart rate to increase. So when you start feeling like that, if you're vaping, or smoking, whatever you're doing, stop doing that. What actually counters that is sugar. Straight up sugar, take a spoonful, that will counter those feelings. If you have a big fat cigar and you smoke it too fast and you take too much nicotine because of that, you're going to feel dizzy, you're going to feel a huge buzz, it's going to be, messed up. Sugar will help that. But that is the beginnings of nicotine poisoning. That's your body saying, hey, whatever we're doing, cut it out. It's not good. Same thing with vaping. If you start feeling these symptoms, stop immediately. If you are using liquid that has nicotine in it, you can overdo it. In fact, some places sell, extra nicotine content so that every time you take a puff, it's literally more nicotine than you would if you were smoking a regular cigarette. Be very, very careful of the amounts of nicotine in the juice. Like I said, I only personally recommend for non-smokers, zero content. You don't need nicotine to enjoy it, okay? Just from me to you. I do it just for the flavor and for the experience you get with it. I think it takes 40 to 60 milligrams of nicotine to be fatal. Now that's a lot. Keep in mind something else too. Be very careful handling e-liquid. Okay, if it has nicotine content, you spill it on yourself, you will absorb that nicotine through your skin. You don't have to smoke it. You can ingest it. It can touch your lips, your tongue, anywhere on your body, and you will absorb nicotine through your skin, and you will start feeling really sick if it's a lot. So be careful handling it as well. You don't have to be afraid of it. Just be careful. I experienced the beginnings of nicotine poisoning when I did my dip video. When I first tried dip, you guys remember that? I felt extremely sick. That's what it was. It was nicotine poisoning. I was not used to the rapid absorption of nicotine that I got from the dip. First of all, I did a huge pinch, apparently. Everyone told me. It was a massive pinch of tobacco. Put it in my mouth. Absorbed it through, my gums immediately, and it was way too much, and I started feeling really sick. It was one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life. It's horrible. You don't want to go through that, so just be careful with that. All right, I want to read real quick to you what the PG and the VG is. Now, when you buy e-liquids, it'll say, what percentage. Now, what's very common is a 50-50, where the actual liquid, what the liquid is 50% PG, which is the propylene glycol, and 50% the vegetable glycerin. All right. Now, there's pros to cons. Some liquids are 100% PG, some are 100% VG. So I'm going to read this to you so you can better understand what it is and the benefits and pros and cons and stuff. Before I read this, let me say one more thing. Most people who vape will tell you that you'll get more flavor out of the juice if it does have nicotine in it. I understand that, and having tried nicotine content, there is more flavor, but it's not worth it to me. I don't want to take in nicotine if it's not something necessary, something I want to do. If I'm smoking a cigar or casually smoking a pipe, that's different. But as far as vaping, I really don't have much interest at all in nicotine content. I just like the zero nicotine juices. I know I lose a little bit of the flavor by doing that, but I'm okay with that. So anyway, let me read this article to you. E-liquids contain 4 ingredients: a PG or VG base, nicotine, water, and flavorings. The base or carrier holds the nicotine and flavors in suspension, so your e-cigarette can produce those nice clouds of smoke-like vapor. Both propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin are non-toxic organic compounds and generally considered safe for consumption. In fact, they are widely used as food additives in a variety of commercially available products. First, let's talk about PG-based e-liquid. Because it's most popular of the two, due to the fact that propylene glycol is relatively thin in consistency, this kind of e-liquid is runnier than the VG variety. It's more easily absorbed by the polyfill fabric inside the cartomizer. The low density of the juice also means that gunk doesn't build up on the heating element of your e-cigarette as fast as it does when thicker vegetable glycerin liquid is used. Propylene glycol is a tasteless, odorless substance, so it doesn't alter the flavor of the e-liquid in any way. It's also a powerful humectant hit. Powerful humectant? I don't know. So while it will dry out your mouth and throat if used consistently. PG also produces a stronger throat hit, similar to that of tobacco cigarettes. On the downside, propylene glycol is known to cause allergic reactions in some e-cig users. These can vary from minor reactions like a tingling sensation in the throat to serious irritations on various parts of the body. If you experience any unusual symptoms after vaping PG liquid, it's best to stop immediately and switch to vegetable glycerin. So something to consider. There's obviously pros and cons of both. I will say I saw one person on YouTube who has stomach issues, digestion problems, and he started getting very bad cramps after smoking PG-based juices. So when he switched to vegetable glycerin, which was completely all natural, he had no more problems at all. So just something to throw out there. All right, vegetable glycerin is a considerably thicker solution compared to propylene glycol. On its own, VG has a slight sweet taste, which also makes the e-liquid sweeter, and the flavor is a little difficult to detect. While PG is known to give users a dry mouth, some vapors can have complained about phlegm building up in their throat after using vegetable glycerin-based juices. You also get less of a throat hit when using VG. On the upside, because of the high consistency, VG e-liquids produce significantly more vapor and doesn't cause allergic reactions or irritations as often as the PG or propylene glycol. Then it goes on just to saying how, basically the vaping community's, 6 to 1, half dozen the other. Some people like PG, some people like VG. I can tell you most of the juices out there are literally a mix of 50-50. The best example is the Halo juices that I love so much. They are 50-50. So it's not too thick, but it allows more flavor. You still get a good smoke, or smoke, vapor. I would say smoke, vapor, production, stuff like that. So it's a compromise. But if you do start vaping and you find that you are getting some kind of allergic reaction to it, before you quit or give it up, do try the just 100% vegetable glycerin offerings out there and see if that's helpful for you. I personally had no problems. Christina had no problems whatsoever. So that's basically the information I want to give you now. You're not really smoking anything. It will help you quit smoking, period. If you stick with it, you will quit smoking, and you will not go through with the horrible withdrawal symptoms that some people do when they just try quitting, cold turkey or without any other alternatives. Um, it's not for kids. Okay, so if you're a kid and you think it's cool, oh well. There's lots of adult things that are cool. You're gonna have to wait to be an adult to do those. Don't rush your life. Trust me. Enjoy being a kid. Enjoy not having bills or responsibilities. Enjoy it, because once it goes away, you miss it. Trust me. Um, and it's a fun hobby. It really is a very fun hobby, and there's a large community out there of people who like to vape for various reasons. But be safe. Like anything else, you can take something that's totally safe and abuse it and create problems. Don't do that. Some other just random things I want to say. A lot of people are suggesting different types of mods and stuff. I like the G6 the most out of everything I've tried because it is small and compact. I like that it's small and compact. I'm sure there's other ones that vape a lot better. There's much better things on the market for a lot more money. They may make, bigger hits, draws, all kinds of stuff like that. I'm not interested in something that's big and fat. I see some people with mods and they're like 9 inches long and they're, it's like holding a baseball bat in your hand. It's crazy. That's cool if that's what you're into. I'm not into it. I like the small ones and I do like automatic ones. The difference between the automatic and manual is the automatic, when you draw on it, it automatically vapes. Whereas the other ones, if there's a button, they're manual. You're going to see the manual one. I did get the Triton to try that out because it is bigger and more powerful and everything else. It has bigger tanks on it and stuff. So you'll see that the Halo Triton kit I'm going to do a review on in the future. But I still prefer the small automatic ones. They're just, this is what I like. So anyway, that's it. The biggest point of this video was just to make sure that you guys knew that this is for adults, even though you're not really smoking, even though, yes, it's possible to get stuff with no nicotine in it at all. Just don't do it as a kid. Trust me. Please. Take my word for it, all right? But as for all the adults out there, if you are really serious about trying to quit smoking, this is the solution. This is literally the solution that I've seen work firsthand, all right? So it's worth taking a stab at and giving it a go. So that's it for now. Please, you guys are more educated for the most part on this than I am. Any information you want to add to this, please write it in the comments. If you're watching this and you're really curious, read the comments. If you make videos, if you're very much into the hobby of vaping and you make videos, post in the comments, hey, check out my channel. I do vaping stuff. People are interested in this, all right, and they want to learn more. And the more we can all educate together as a group, the better. Because once you know all about it, then you can make a decision if it's something you want to do or not do. So anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. And I will see you soon. Take care.